Let's face a simple but uncomfortable truth. Neutrality about God is often an illusion. Many people say, I haven't decided yet. Others claim, I'm neither a believer nor a disbeliever. I'm neutral. But are they really? Today, we're exploring why true neutrality about God may be far less common than people think. Because when a question touches meaning, morality, death, identity, and how we live our lives, stay neutral is not as simple as it sounds. Neutrality, a word many people associate with reason, with caution, with intellectual humility. Some proudly say, I'm not a religious, I'm not atheist, I'm neutral. It sounds thoughtful, balanced, even wise. But beneath this surface, neutrality about God may be something else entirely. This isn't a question like a favorite food or sports team or personal taste. The question of God is massive. It touches where the universe came from, whether morality has an objective source, whether life has ultimate purpose, whether justice exists beyond human system, whether death is the end. If God exists, everything changes. And if God does not exist, many of those ideas must be redefined from the ground up. So, neutrality here is not casual middle ground. It may be a temporary position, or it may be an illusion. Permanent neutrality is hard to defend. In philosophy, there are usually three broad positions. 1. Belief. 2. Disbelief. 3. Suspension of judgment. That third position can be reasonable temporarily. When evidence is unclear, it makes sense to investigate before reaching a conclusion. But if someone says for 10, 20, or 30 years, I'm still neutral, then we have to ask, is that careful thinking or avoidance? We are not permanently neutral about unicorns, ancient gods, or invisible beings people invent without evidence. Usually, when evidence is missing, we lean one way. But when the subject is God, many people suddenly remain undecided forever. Why? Often because this question carries emotional weight, cultural purpose, and fear of being wrong. Agnosticism is not the same as emotional neutrality. Many people confuse neutrality with agnosticism, but agnosticism is usually about knowledge. I don't know. Some agnostics are still investigating. Others believe the answer may be unknowable in principle. That's different from saying, I don't want to decide. One is an intellectual position, the other can be physiological strategy. That distinction matters. The burden of proof. In the logic and science, there is a simple principle. The person making the claim carries the burden of proof. If someone say, an all-powerful, invisible being exists, and governs reality. Evidence is required. If convincing evidence is not provided, what is the rational position? Usually not belief, and not endless neutrality either. It is reasonable skepticism until evidence appears. Neutrality rarely exists in practice. Imagine someone says, "I'm neutral about God." Then look at how they live. Do they pray? Do they follow religious rules? Do they fear divine judgment? Do they organize life around faith? If yes, they are leaning one way in practice. If no, they are leaning another way in practice. Human beings live through actions, not labels. An action often reveals what the words try to hide. Probability and honest living. Some say, "I don't rule out God completely." Fair enough, but if someone truly believed there was a serious chance an all-powerful God existed, wouldn't that affect how they live? Wouldn't it shape priorities, habits, morality, prayer, worship? If it changed nothing, then perhaps that possibility is not taken seriously at all. Neutrality can be a safe zone. For many people, neutrality offers comfort. It avoids conflict. It avoids family tension. It avoids social rejection. It avoids confronting difficult truths. The human mind often prefers safety over truth, and neutrality can become a shelter, not a conclusion. Neutrality in religious societies. In strongly religious cultures, neutrality often benefits the dominant belief system. Why? Because neutral people usually do not change it. They do not question it publicly. They do not resist its influence. So even passive neutrality can support the status quo. Life forces decisions. We like to imagine we can delay judgment forever. But life keeps moving. Every day we choose values. We choose what to trust. We choose how to live. Even refusing to choose becomes a kind of choice. Inaction is still action. Even religions rarely accept neutrality. Many religions framed belief as a clear divide. You believe or you do not. There is little room for permanent neutrality. So even from inside religion, the neutral forever position is often unstable. Neutrality and identity. For many people, belief is tied to identity, family, culture, community, self-image. Questioning belief can feel like threatening the self. So neutrality becomes a way to preserve identity without confronting truth directly. The test of honesty. Imagine you had to choose one statement today. God probably exists, or God probably does not exist. Many people would feel an immediate internal pull toward one side. That pull reveals something important. Most mind already lean somewhere. Neutrality is often just a silence about that lean. Final thought. There may be moments when neutrality is reasonable. During investigation, reflections, and honest uncertainty. But permanent neutrality about God is much harder to defend than people assume. Because eventually, evidence matters, action matters, choices matters, and how we live often reveals what we truly think. So the real question may not be, am I neutral? But why do I want to be? If we made it this far together, it means we are willing to ask difficult questions. Not to attack anyone, not to mock belief, but to think clearly, to challenge assumptions, and to look deeper. Because this conversation is only beginning. And never forget, nothing is more sacred than asking questions.